Welcome back to our channel, dear friends. Today is a bright and beautiful day, and we are absolutely delighted to have you join us once again. Grab your favorite warm beverage, find a cozy spot to relax, and let us dive straight into the latest drama unfolding in Port Charles. We have some truly astonishing updates to share with you today, so let us get right into it. Oh my goodness, I have just been bursting at the seams to sit down and talk with you all about the latest whispers coming out of our favorite town. If you have been following these families as long as I have, you know that nothing is ever as simple as it seems, especially when it comes to brand new babies. Today, I want to talk about that precious little angel, Desmond Robinson Ashford. Babies are such a profound blessing, bringing so much light and hope into the world. But in this town, they also have a funny way of bringing long-buried secrets right up to the surface. I have a strong feeling in my bones that we are about to witness a twist that will leave us all completely breathless. Right now, everyone is just so thrilled for Curtis Ashford. Bless his heart, that man has been through the ringer more times than I can count. He has fought so hard for a sense of normalcy, for a loving home, and for a family to call his very own. When he looks at little Desmond, you can just see the absolute devotion in his eyes. He believes with his whole soul that this child is his flesh and blood, his legacy to protect and cherish. It brings tears to my eyes just thinking about how much he wants to be a good father. But dear friends, I am terribly worried that a massive storm cloud is gathering right over his head, and it all revolves around those pesky paternity test results that everyone seems to be trusting blindly. We all know that medical tests in Port Charles can be about as reliable as a leaky bucket. The rumors swirling around suggest that the DNA results confirming Curtis as the father might just be completely wrong. And the center of this brewing storm is none other than Isaiah Gannon. Isaiah has been spending an awful lot of time around Portia Robinson lately, and the friction between him and Curtis is thicker than molasses in the wintertime. They circle one another constantly, sizing each other up with so much animosity. But what if their intense rivalry is not just about competing for Portia's affection? What if there is a much deeper biological reason why these two men are constantly at each other's throats? This brings me to the absolute shocker of a moment we witnessed recently. Do you remember when Marshall Ashford made his grand return on that Tuesday, July 28th episode? Oh, my heart just leapt when I saw him. Marshall came straight from the airport, not even bothering to unpack a single bag because he was so desperate to lay eyes on his new grandson. That is the kind of fierce, old-school family love that just warms my spirit. He rushed over to Portia's place, bursting with pride and joy, ready to welcome little Desmond into the Ashford family. But when he walked through that door, the atmosphere completely shifted. Standing right there in the living room, looking as awkward as a sore thumb, was Isaiah. I tell you, you could have heard a pin drop in that room. The tension was so heavy it practically weighed down my television screen. Marshall is a man of great dignity, but he is fiercely protective of his own. Isaiah, trying to do the polite thing, attempted to break the ice. He made a gentle comment about how he was looking forward to getting to know Desmond's grandfather. It was a clear attempt to extend an olive branch and smooth over a very uncomfortable situation. But Marshall did not budge an inch. He stood his ground like a mighty oak tree and made it abundantly clear exactly where his loyalties lie. Marshall looked right at Isaiah and drew a permanent line in the sand. He stated firmly that he is on Curtis's side through and through. He told Isaiah that while they could manage to be civil and polite to one another for the sake of peace, they were never ever going to be friends. Marshall vowed that he would never betray his son by getting cozy with a man who brings so much turmoil into Curtis's life. I have to admit, I cheered a little bit for Marshall in that moment. There is something deeply moving about a father standing up for his child like that. But after the episode ended, I sat on my porch with a glass of sweet tea, and my mind started racing with a theory that I just cannot shake. What if Marshall's incredibly intense reaction to Isaiah was not just about protecting Curtis? What if it stems from a deep, hidden guilt? We all remember the tragic history of Marshall's past. He disappeared from his family's life for years, wandering out there in the world while battling his own severe health issues and personal demons. During those lost years, he lived a completely separate life that his family in Port Charles knows almost nothing about. There is a massive, gaping hole in Marshall's history. And then we have Isaiah, a man whose background is basically a blank slate, We know he is good friends with our beloved Lucky Spencer, but we know absolutely nothing about his parents or his family tree. It is not too far-fetched to think that these two mysterious pasts might be connected. I genuinely believe the writers are dropping little breadcrumbs for us, hinting at the shocking possibility that Marshall Ashford is actually Isaiah Gannon's biological father. Just imagine it. If Marshall had a relationship during those missing years and fathered a child he either never knew about or was forced to leave behind, it would explain everything. It would explain the instant, undeniable tension between Marshall and Isaiah in that living room. Sometimes families can sense a connection even before the truth is spoken aloud. If Marshall is Isaiah's father, the entire landscape of Port Charles is about to change forever. If this theory holds true, it means that Curtis and Isaiah are not just romantic rivals. It means they are half-brothers. Lord have mercy, just think about the emotional explosion that would cause. Curtis has spent his life trying to rebuild his relationship with his father, and to find out that his worst enemy is actually his own flesh and blood would be absolutely devastating. The rivalry between them would transform from a simple disagreement into a tragic Shakespearean family feud. But the most heartbreaking part of this entire theory brings us right back to the beginning. The paternity of sweet little baby Desmond. Let us think about how the science works in plain and simple terms. If Curtis and Isaiah share the same father in Marshall, it means they share a massive amount of the exact same Ashford DNA. When the doctors ran that paternity test to see if Curtis was Desmond's father, they were looking for those specific family genetic markers. If Isaiah is the true father of the baby, his DNA would be passed down to Desmond. But because Isaiah and Curtis are brothers, Curtis's DNA would look incredibly similar to the baby's DNA. It is highly likely that the test gave a false positive for Curtis simply because it recognized the Ashford bloodline, completely missing the fact that the actual father was the brother standing right in the shadows. My heart literally aches when I think about the pain this revelation is going to cause our dear Curtis. He has already bonded so deeply with that innocent child. He has pictured a whole lifetime of birthdays, holidays, and quiet moments raising his son. To have that beautiful dream shattered, to be told that he is not the father, but rather the uncle, would break his spirit in ways I cannot even fathom. He has lost so much time with his own father, and now he faces the unbearable prospect of losing the child he thought was his. The sense of betrayal, the overwhelming grief, it is going to be a heavy cross for him to bear, and I just pray he has the strength to get through it. And we cannot forget about poor Portia in all of this. She is going to be caught right in the dead center of a family hurricane. She thought she finally had her life figured out, believing she knew who the father of her baby was, and trying to build a stable, loving home. If she discovers that Isaiah is the true father, and that Isaiah is Curtis's brother, her entire world will be turned upside down. She will have to navigate the incredibly painful reality of raising a child with the man she was trying to avoid, all while watching the man she truly loves suffer from a broken heart. It is the kind of deeply emotional, messy family drama that makes us care so much about these people. I also keep wondering how Marshall will ever be able to live with himself if this turns out to be true. He has worked so incredibly hard to earn back the love and trust of his family, to realize that his past secrets and his lost years have directly caused this massive heartbreak for Curtis would be a crushing blow. He would be the reason his two sons are fighting over the same woman and the same child. It is a burden of guilt that could tear a man apart. I just know that the coming weeks are going to be filled with so many tears, shocking confessions, and emotional confrontations. We are in for a bumpy ride, my friends, and I will be right here on the edge of my seat waiting to share every single moment with you.